When I was in college, I made what I now think was a misguided decision. Many, but this is one. I became a math major. Math was easy in English, which was an issue. And I had a great memory and capacity for the abstract thinking. Not sure where that has gone now. I grew up hearing that math was in the genes of the family. Yes, even in the genes of the Marquez girls. After graduation, I wanted to create change, and I wanted to get a PhD. Instead of math, I decided to study people, culture, and society. There are days when I wonder if my career choices would have been different, if I'd been able to see the connections of mathematics to the world of the tangible, which for me means the world of people and community. Let's learn about touching mathematics. Let's welcome the Fletcher professor, Satyan Devadoss.
Have you ever taken a long flight, say cross-country, to the East Coast, or to Hawaii, or even to Asia? Sometimes the flight is 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, and you get that window seat on purpose. You get the pillow, you just want some rest, and the worst happens. The person in the middle seat does not stop talking. My friends, I just want to let you know that I am the person in the middle seat. I love talking to people, and the first thing that people say to me when they find out I'm a mathematician, absolute strangers, are the words, "You must be smart." Now this is amazing, because they might be sitting next to an artist, a plumber, a historian, an art critic, but yet somehow when you think of the notion of mathematics, you think of ideas of equations and functions that are just way above you. It's beyond understanding. It's not for the mortals, it's for those in the clouds. Bertrand Russell, a mathematician and philosopher, over 100 years ago penned these words. He writes, "Remote from human passions, remote even from the pitiful facts of nature, the generations have created an ordered cosmos where pure thought can dwell in its natural home." He's talking about mathematics, and where one at least of our, listen to these words, "our nobler impulses can escape from the dreary exile of the actual world." He's thinking of math being in these clouds. Now, something interesting has happened. Because of the power of mathematics today, we see that it is the reason, the foundation in which technology is fueled. It's how solar power works. It's how automation of cars work. It's how computational photography works. Almost any big technological advance is basically funded and fueled by the notions of mathematics. You could even say that mathematicians are like the heroin dealers of Silicon Valley. They get the hit so that you get the hit with your phone. Now, what's interesting, though, is there has been an incredible pushback based on this. I want to let you know something. More than ever, vinyl is now the most popular way to listen to music. Now, this is surprising because you have Apple lossless digital files. You have literally flawless music. Why would you not get that, but instead get literally something made of degradable material that's actually scratched? Because we are humans. We don't believe in music that doesn't have weight. We want to touch music with our hands. And it is so attractive to us when we're in this digital age where things are disembodied. I'm not sure about you, but I'm probably spending about $30 for a cup of coffee nowadays. Now, this is remarkable because when I was a kid, you'd get a cup of coffee for a quarter, 50 cents, maybe like a really nice one for $1. Why is it that coffee is so expensive now? And I think part of it has to do with the fact that we used to be humans moving and working in 3 dimensions. We'd be lifting, planting, working, bending our knees in space. Industrial Revolution comes along, we're moving in 2 dimensions. Then the factory comes along, and we're moving in 1 dimension. And now, we literally sit at our computer with 0-dimensional movement. And we're just transmitting data from one person to the other one. And our body says, dude, you owe me. You owe me. You have abused me here, sitting in this place. Take care of me. You owe me a date, and $30 is pretty cheap. Take me to a coffee shop where I'm surrounded by people. Take me to a coffee shop where my body is refreshed, where I can smell things that are good, where I can listen to things that are good. The barista says, how are you? I have a human interaction. It's worth the $30. It's remarkable. Now, why is this? Why is our body so important and pushing back against technological things? And to me, I think the reason is foundational to Catholic social thinking, and it's actually foundation to Catholic intellectual tradition. The centerpiece of all of this in this Catholic movement is one thing, which is Easter. Something remarkable is there, and right now we're in the middle of Lent leading up to Easter. What is Easter about? Easter is the physical resurrection of Jesus, and two things happen. First of all, there's this notion of the fact that sin and death is destroyed and this new life is coming. But secondly, you get a glimpse into what peace and the new world looks like. And here's what we see in Luke 24. In Luke 24, we see, and when Jesus had said this in the resurrected body, he said, show them his hands and his feet. And while they still disbelieved for joy and were marveling, he said to them, have you anything here to eat? And they gave him a piece of broiled fish. He took it and ate before them. This is remarkable, for in the kingdom to come, in what the new heaven and the new earth, the hope that we have in the future to come, we will have bodies, we will have hands and feet, we will have smell to smell in the fish, we will have mouths to taste. Now this, to me, is a struggle because the mathematical world, if you think about Bertrand Russell, is still in the clouds. What I've been thinking about for 15 years is what does it mean for math to have hands and feet? If math is supposed to last into the future kingdom, what does that mean for math to be embodied? Here are a few things that we've done at USD to think about this. One is the entrance to the math department is a massive mural. And the mural has to do with unsolved research my students and I did, and we published a paper on it, on how to take high-dimensional objects and push it into lower dimensions. This is a four-dimensional cube that's been unpacked in a certain way, pushed into 3D and projected onto this wall. We also spent time raising $50,000, built a 2-ton sculpture that we took to Burning Man. Now, Burning Man, it turns out, is cool nowadays. It's the largest sculptural showcase in the world where half of Silicon Valley goes there to check it out. In fact, the Smithsonian had a year-long exhibit on the artwork of Burning Man. The outside of the sculpture has to do with 20,000 LED lights that talk about technology and our problems with technology. And as you walk into the sculpture where the faces unfold, you're surrounded by 12 10-foot-tall mirrors that reflect humanity on itself. Just little glimpses of what it means to think about math in a physical way. But I think the punchline, something I've worked hard to think about, is recently the math department got $1 million funding to renovate the department, and the centerpiece of it is this math studio. It's been my dream for a long time, a laboratory where math can actually be touched. Not for the sake of students, not for the sake of teaching, but to actually promote and push the foundations of mathematics. And as you do that in your bodily form, you invite the students along to share that experience. Let me close with a quote from Pope Francis. Here's what he says. Tell me, when you give to the beggar, do you look into the eyes of the man or the woman to whom you give? And when you give to the poor, do you touch the hand of the one to whom you give? Or do you toss the coin? If you did not touch them, you did not meet them. Now, to me, this is remarkable because Francis is saying that the way to take care of the world is not some transaction. It's not a financial transaction of moving my bank account into somebody else. And in this academic world where I was born and raised in academic life, that it's not an educational transaction. It's not me just downloading information to a computer to give to my students. It is costly to what it means to be human. It is costly of what it means to walk with somebody, break bread with somebody, have coffee with somebody, and listen to them. And that is the way true transformation happens. It is not cheap. There is no shortcuts, but it is worth the price. Thank you for your time.